anything that we would want to show them on our website, segment that out and then create that into its own ad. That is telling the story the way that a person now wants to learn. Remember when we had like content creation and amplification? You remember all those like 10 years ago? It's the same. We're just taking our landing page content and syndicating it now as an ad and then throwing ad spend behind it. It's the same thing.
So is it safe to say that you should take your best gated or hidden content, i.e. the webinar that you were talking about? We talked to a client this week that, was doing an 1.5-hour webinar. I'm like, why are you gating that? What I kept saying. And we've done this in many cases. We actually have a great case study where we did exactly that. We turned it into an ungated, either a singular video or multi-part video, and just repeated the same. And people watched it like hundreds of times, and then eventually just, filled out an application to get a coaching call or a consulting call to eventually sell a $2,000 book. Right. Same kind of thing. So it's like, just ungate your best stuff and use that as ads. That's sort of the bottom line here.
That's exactly right. I think what we're doing is, I don't have permission to share this, so I'm just going to kind of give some snapshots of like the technicals. I'll get permission to kind of do a deeper dive, and we can share this. But we have this company that offers this like a medical billing and coding type of class, and you can buy it online and you can start your journey in your education. But there's a webinar that goes through why you're going to buy this, and it's a long form of a sales presentation. So we started to do that where we're taking the stuff that is gated and trying to bring it to the forefront. And then we're using the first click imports to see optimize towards the actual people who finished. As an example, this one, we still have the webinar viewers. There's 2,500 people that have started the webinar. Only 1,300 have finished the webinar. So about half. But that's been optimizing now towards these $10 completers. And we're already starting to see that those people who are going through and finishing the webinar are purchasing the course at $8, where this one is $4. However, this one is spending a whole lot less. So I have a new test I'll be able to dive into, but what we're looking at here is taking that gated content, pushing it to the front, and then saying, can we just start to get you to purchase the class by pushing the webinar in front of you versus having to push you through the webinar. And so far, again, this just went live not too long ago.
That's a great test.
Yeah, and basically the test started. I mean, we're looking at. I mean, was it the 14th? So 6 days ago when we actually turned it on. So I mean, we don't even have enough for us to really be able to showcase this as a case study just yet. But as a quick example, we know that on 1,400 we have 8, or 14,000 we have 8. So quick math here. 14,446 divided by 8 is $1,800 CPA. The one right here is $1,000 CPA. So it's like 45% cheaper to take the webinar, kind of push it as an ad. And we have some ad-esque webinars that still kind of goes through the webinar funnel, but there's going to be some more information that we're going to be trying this year, where our thought process is, if I don't gate it, if I just take the webinar, break it into chunks, show it to you, you're now getting a webinar before you click, and then I can push you towards a purchase. Right. So it's definitely a newer test, a newer style of thinking. Everyone I've talked to about this, which is, basically me, my mirror, and 2 other people, all agree. And
us. Yeah. Us kids. Yep.
Exactly. So, but it's weird when I've been presenting this, it kind of starts to click. They're like, okay, I think I learned that way. I engage with content that way. I don't want to sit there and read your landing page, but if I'm bored on Facebook and you have more interesting, cool things that you want to share with me, I'll listen if it's good enough. And that's what we're up against now. Is your content good enough? Can I tell you a story? Can I convince you? Can I use my traditional marketing that hasn't changed in 200 years to do the same thing? And so that's where we have to take our thought process is now. It used to be, I've been saying this where it's email used to be digital currency. Now it's becoming a click.
Yeah, it is. And you can retarget those clicks probably more effectively than you can the emails in so many ways. It's like the click is so much easier to get, but then the email has deliverability issues and all the other sorts of things that go along with it. And you're not going to get as many as a result of it because you're gating, and people are like, is this content going to be good enough that I'm going to give up my name and my email address? We still have that sort of quandary every time you're faced with like an opt-in box for anything. I certainly am. Just look at your phone. How many friggin', spam messages do you get every single day because you gave out your phone number, to all these people, and God knows who. The point is that this is how people truly do interact. And I remember this lesson very, very early on. I might have said it here on the ad, I was about to say Tier 11 Live, is that remember when I first bought my first info product, it was Product Launch Formula by Jeff Walker. And I watched that thing. He gated it. You had to put in your name and email address. But I watched the replay like 8 or 9 times before I decided to buy a $2,000 program, which at that point in time was all the money in the world for me.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff Walker still gated everything. But now, if you look at how he does things, he doesn't gate anything.
Right.
It's exactly what you're talking about here. And that always stuck with me. It's like people don't necessarily, you don't think they're going to do what you want them to do. Like, I'm going to watch the webinar once and then I'm going to apply for the coaching. It's like, that's not how it works. They need to consume it in a lot of different ways, through retargeting ads, through maybe other snippets, reminders, things that they see in their news feed. And the big 1 hour presentation that shows the value of the program. All of that together, you ungate it. It makes so much more sense because that's how we as humans buy.
That's back in previous agency that will not be named. We had, I had 1,000 videos on that YouTube channel of my brain just out there. And everyone could have taken that, stolen everything I've ever done in my life, put me completely out of business and did them themselves. They didn't, because they appreciate the education and they are happy to learn, and they feel, not to get too touchy-feely, they feel more connected with me. They're like, I'm a brand now because I've been explaining the story. And so those are what our clients and our people watching this, they can do that. If you are able to teach a user the way they want to be taught, which is right now, Meta is still the best platform for ads on an outbound perspective. And as long as they're learning in chunks and you're speaking to them in all of the different variations that Meta wants us to use inside of a ad set, that's where we're seeing, and I'll kind of jump back into this one screen share because this sort of now starts to explain the reasoning why this is doing this here. Let's see. Could you share the screen for me, sir? There we are. So since we've started up until today, these are obviously the ads that we had to turn off because of the seasonality and Father's Day and stuff like that. So we just look at the ones that are even just still active. Each one of these ads here, whether they have $1,700 in ad spend or $5 in ad spend, my CPA rarely goes over $20 to $25. More under 20s. I have a $31 here and there that, that makes sense because it's duplicated. And I'm going to turn this off soon. I just told myself I'm not touching anything until this is something I need to update. But $5 and $5 sale, $8 sale, $13 sale. I'll take all these little onesie twosies cheap CPA because I'm spending a whole grand total of $150 a day. But we started to see that when you're looking at the all ads and view charts, the amount of ad spend that we have in this campaign here, we're spending $30 a day. I bumped it up to about $60 a day. Then I bumped it up again to $150 a day. And my per purchase has stayed relatively flat when you're talking about tripling the budget in 30 days. And so our website purchases went from 4, then dipped down to 0, then peaked up at 8 and dipped down to here. But we can see that my 3 chunks of kind of getting my feet wet, scaled up a little bit, and then a larger scale, the median points are at a higher level each time, and it is becoming more effective, and it's easier to scale because these people are more warmed up and there's more new users being added to the existing funnel where they're going to learn everything. I've now sort of, in our first test, which is this is not the best way to do this. Honestly, if I could have taken 6 months and built the best creative in the world and then deployed this, I would have been happy. I just took the most diverse content we could find over the last few years, and then try to put this thing together. But now I have set up essentially a museum, and I'm now bringing you into the museum. Like, this is where Vermont Glove Company was made. And I'm now showing you and educating. On the other side, you're in the gift shop. Oh, grab a glove. That's kind of what this is turning into. So it's really interesting to see how the technical aspect is less important, but the creative aspect is now spotlight.